You only need a few simple strokes to paint this peony flower with a Filbert brush. I'll show you how in this beginner-friendly tutorial, so come and join me. Here's what I've been practicing, and as promised, I'm going to show you exactly how I painted this. I've been practicing a couple of different techniques. I don't think that one came out very well, but it was more just to practice with the brush. So in preparation, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I've used to basically understand the Filbert brush, because I've had this for a little while. It's not any particular brand. I've got a set and I'm picking this one, which is a size 16, and this one, which is a size 4 for the detailed bits. And then we've got a smaller brush if I need it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to need that yet. So just to understand, this is a Filbert brush. It's flat and it's quite thin on this side. The bristles are synthetic, so it's not going to hold a lot of water. We'll see how it does, but it's more about the shape which we're going to use it for, and that's going to create these really nice gorgeous petals. I've got opera pink for the moment, and I'm just going to use opera pink just so that you guys can see what colour, sort of what shapes it makes. But the actual colour I'm going to paint the peony in is going to be Holbein Shell pink, because that is absolutely gorgeous. So let's understand what shapes this brush creates. So the first basic shape for you to practice is just down like that. There we go. Practice a few of those. Oh, it does hold quite a bit actually. Turn it over. It does actually hold quite a bit of water. I'm a bit surprised I can do all of that. So let me grab a bit more paint. And then we've also got this way. So you can get really nice leaf shape, petal shape, and thin shapes as well. Okay, so the other one that you can practice as well is also this way. Okay, now we're going to combine it. The way I think of it is, it's like driving on a roundabout, and you've got to change gears as you're going round a roundabout. If you can't drive, I'm not sure what else to use, but you're basically multitasking. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going to pop the brush down, and then we're going to twist it as we lift up. Let me do that again. Pop the brush down, it's at an angle, and then twist, and then lift up. That one went a bit long. I'm not quite sure how I did that. So we're going to pop it down and then twist as we lift up. Pop it down. It's not going, the brush isn't going all the way down. And then twist ever so slightly as you lift up. And then you sort of get half a petal. Let's try that again. You might just have to play around with your Filbert brush just to see what kind of shapes you can make. So this is the biggest one that I've got in my set. I've got some slightly smaller ones, but I really wanted to figure out this bigger brush. The other problem I tend to have as well is, because I'm right-handed, I find brush strokes this way quite tricky. So that's another thing I'm going to have to learn. So as you can see there, it didn't quite come out right, but I'm doing the same technique as I did that way, but I'm trying to do it this way. So let's try that again. Pop your brush down, twist slightly. Okay, that one's better. Pop your brush down, slide, twist as you lift up. Okay, it will work. It will work for us. It's because I'm overthinking it. Right, let's try a few more brush strokes and then we will head into making the actual peony. So, some that way. It's really awkward. It does make my hand feel really awkward, and maybe I am just overthinking it. Oh, that one's come out beautiful. And then the other shapes you've got is that way as well. So practice those. If you're not ready to paint the peony yet, have a practice. It's no problem. This paper is still 100% cotton, but it's not an expensive piece of paper. So use some scrap paper. Don't use your best paper to practice these. Well, it's entirely up to you, but I'm not using my best paper for practices like these. Or use the back of some paper. So practice those, and then we'll come back and we'll paint the actual peony. Let's paint our peony. First few petals are going down on this Archer's paper, 100% cotton, and it's cold press. Take your time, nice and slowly. Can you see how we are using the techniques that we've just practiced? Nice and slowly. So I've just painted that first part, as you can see here. I'm working on the sides and the back, and I've also kept the paint quite light and watery in places, and I'm using little light gentle touches, and I'm using the shape of the brush to my advantage because it's going to make it look like there's lots of soft dreamy petals when we've actually just done a few strokes. This front part has gone into one piece. I wanted it to look like lots of petals, but that's okay. It will still work. Stick with it. Trust the process. I'm just working on the other side now with the petals, with the thin brush strokes and the thick brush strokes. And I'm just going to add some petals here to make it look like that there's petals underneath the flower as well. And also try and keep a little bit of the white in places. Don't join it all up completely. I'm picking up my smaller number 4 Filbert brush just to go in with a touch of that opera pink, just to start building up a few of the layers. Do you see what I mean by it doesn't matter that it all looks like it's all in one piece? We can still add on a slightly second layer whilst it's still ever so slightly damp. I forgot to say, don't use too much water. I'm using a little bit of water and a little bit of pigment. There's more water than pigment, but not loads of water. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to work on this second flower now, and I'm going to make it look like it's going at a sort of an angle. So I'm hoping as you get a feel of using your Filbert brush, you will hopefully grow more and more confident in painting flowers like these and using a Filbert brush. So just looking at this one, try and keep the centre a bit clear and work on the petals behind the front ones, but keep the white of the centres so then we can put the pollen in a bit later on. I'm going to add a touch of that opera pink just to start adding a tiny bit of the shadow and just add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of slightly different colour to this particular peony. And then still using that opera pink, I'm just using the light thin technique, and that gives it the illusion there's lots of petals underneath. And the same up here, it just makes it look like there's lots of petals, but there isn't. We've just done this with a few simple, easy brush strokes, and then we can work on that third flower as well. As I'm becoming more confident, my brush strokes are becoming quicker. I'll still keep it nice and slow. I won't go too quick, but if you want to do the same, feel free to do exactly the same. I'm using the same techniques that we've practiced in those brush strokes earlier, and I'm sort of more focused on this third flower. And again, same thing, same techniques, same colours, and just using the same brush strokes. You can totally do this. So let's work on these petals now, and these are the petals behind where the pollen or the stamen is going to go. Little gentle touches again. Use the shape of the brush to make it look like you're creating the petals nice and easily and simply. Don't overthink it too much. Feel free to pause or slow the video down, or just pause it and try and do one flower at a time. So I'm going to leave the petals as they are for the moment and let that dry off a bit, and work on the stem and some of the leaves as well. I'm still going to use the Filbert brush. I'm just going to use that smaller brush just to create that stem and just make up some green. I'm using my Shinhan PWC paints, and I'm just using a mixture of green but adding a touch of that pink into that to make that colour. I'm not focusing too much on the leaves. In fact, the leaves I make, I don't think are the right leaves. So don't worry too much about that, and don't overthink it. Just do it. Just do the stem. Okay, that one's got a touch bit wonky, but do you know what? It works. Don't overthink it. Just use a thin brush to create that line. I'm still using the Filbert brush to create those leaves, and I'm just going to do that stemmy bit. Pop your brush down and use the exact same brush stroke. Twist it at the end to create that end bit, and then do another one on the other side of it. It does feel a bit fiddly and a bit awkward. You might have to practice this. Practice the leaves maybe on a separate piece of paper as well to start off with before you do it. And I'm just going to go in and add a touch more of that green just on the edges, just to make it look a bit more darker. It's looking good though. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. It is looking really good. Considering I wasn't confident with using a Filbert brush, this is turning out really, really nice. I've done the same technique, but this time just moving the Filbert brush down, and then I'm just adding in some of that extra colour just in places. It makes it look like it's got texture to the leaf, gives it a bit of character. And let's just do a couple more. If you're not comfortable with painting leaves, I am going to paint another separate video with just making leaves with a Filbert brush. I feel like we need to explore that a bit more, but the secret is just popping some darker areas into the leaf so that it bleeds and blends into the leaf to give that illusion of them being twisted. And I'm just popping in some darker colour. Well, it's not even darker colour, it's the same, but just popping it in on the edges. So for this next one, let's just do a line. Let's just do that again. Just do it. Just do it. There we go. Have some fun with it as well. Let's just add a few more lines and just make that into a leaf. I'm picking up some of that pink again and adding another layer, but again, small brush strokes. Just keep the colour underneath. You're not covering it all up. All you're doing is adding another soft layer and putting in a little shadow. That bit's gone a bit funny. I'm not panicking. Stay cool. Be cool. We'll deal with that in a bit. The same with the petals at the back. Just little bits of colour. We don't want to do too much too soon like I've done on that section of the flower, which we will sort out in a second. So don't worry if you do the same thing, we'll sort it out. And I'm just going to repeat that on the other flowers as well, on both of these flowers. But I did just want to say as well, please don't get annoyed with yourself or too frustrated with yourself if it doesn't turn out right the first time. You saw at the beginning how many times I've actually tried this. I'm also using a Filbert brush as well, which has taken me a while to get used to. So I'm just going back to the smaller brush, and I think I've picked up a lemon yellow mixed with cadmium yellow, just to make it stand out a touch. And I'm just literally putting in lines, and that's going to be the centre of the flower, the pollen or the stamen. I'm so bad at biology, but I think that's what it is. But it's the centre of the peony, and I'm just adding a few little bits in. Just be careful you don't do too much. It's okay if it blends nicely. If a little bit blends through, that's no problem. That will still work. And just do little bits again. So that's it. Leave the flower for the moment. I'm just going in with some definitely darker green this time, just in places on the leaves. Just give it a little bit of contrast, make them stand out a little bit. I still want the flowers to be the main focus, but you might as well practice painting leaves and just making a nice picture on the whole, really. If painting 3 of these is a bit too much, just focus on one at a time. Just paint one, come back to it, add another one if you want to a bit later, or just paint one just as a practice. I'm going to let that fully dry and then come back to it. I think I waited about 10 minutes, and then we're just going to go in with some final details. I'm adding in some Holbein Lilac. It's just a light purpley, lilac-y colour. Really gorgeous as well, really pretty. And again, little touches. You don't want it to go everywhere. Think about where the shadows might be, and I'm just making it a touch bit darker in places, not everywhere. And again, we're not covering, just a little bit. I've added some quinacridone red to it as well to go even darker, and even smaller areas are going to get this colour. I'm not using too much water at all. I'm just using enough water just to make it like blendable, so that it moves around the picture where I want it to go. So let's sort this bit out. I'm using the side of the brush, the smaller side of the brush, and it's the size 4 brush. This one is as well. And I'm going to add some shadow in places to try and break up where I've got the paint, too much paint in one place. Hope that makes sense. I hope you can see what I'm doing as I'm trying to explain it as well. But can you see how we've built up the layers really slowly? Quite a few, well, not loads of layers, but it just now looks like there's lots of petals. Does that make sense? Now that you can see it with your own eyes, and maybe you've tried it yourself, maybe you're watching this first, but if you haven't tried this yet, you must try it. It's so easy. Once you know how to do it, once you've figured it out, you can create so many flowers and leaves and floral compositions so much easier once you can see exactly how it's done. Please feel free to let me know in the comments exactly how you got on with this, what you thought. Will you have a go? Will you try this? Or have I scared you off completely and painting is not for you? Let me know either way in the comments. I'm also on TikTok. I'm at BloomArtBySw. I would love to know how you got on. If you're feeling bolder, feel free to just add some more of that colour. Stick with just putting it in underneath the petals though. And again, don't do too much. You don't want to overpower the peony painting with lots of reds. I know they come in different colours, but I just want to keep it nice and light and airy, and keep your brush strokes loose, expressive, really nice and flowy and free. And I hope you enjoyed it. I mixed up some darker colours, some orange and some sepia, and I think I'd put in a touch of Payne's grey as well, just to go on top of the pollen. Again, I don't know what it's called. I should really learn, but it's just to make the top of the pollen stand out a bit more. Be careful that you don't go over any paint that is wet in case that bleeds. If you want to wait for it to dry before you do this bit, then that's absolutely fine. Feel free to do so. But that just needs to go on top of the pollen. I mixed up some more green with some Payne's grey again, and I'm just darkening up some areas of the leaves and the stem. I finished with the flowers now. That's all done. Just going to give some more contrast just to make the flowers stand out a bit more. It's these final little details that really do make a difference to a painting. So the important thing is though, is that you wait for most or everything to dry, and then you can go in with a second or third or fourth or fifth layer, a final layer if you want to call it that, and that just really makes it stand out so much. It makes such a difference to the picture as a whole. When you're happy, take a step back, look at everything, make sure you're happy with everything, sign it, sign all your pictures. I need to sign my other one. I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, before you go, watch this next.